myself here watching Wicked Binge's most gruesome childhood movie villain death videos. Fantastic. Let's have a look at DreamWorks villains and how they died.
Let's move on to the more unique and seemingly painless deaths. Unfortunately for the rest of the villains on this list, we only have 2 baddies that fall into the category. Topping this section is the fairy godmother from Shrek 2. Being a magic wielder with many different spells in her arsenal, it could have gone much worse for the fairy godmother in terms of death, given that the spell that ultimately destroyed her was also one that she tried to use against Shrek and Fiona to get rid of them once and for all.
Well, you know what they say, you get what you deserve.
Be forgiven for thinking that her end would have been a bit more, well, explosion. But instead, Fairy Godmother goes out not in a blaze of glory, but a blaze of bubbles.
Oh, I mean, it's pretty instant. Can't really complain about that. As far as deaths go, that's not a bad one. And you can be buried alive, you can be burned alive, you could be drowned alive. I think that's a pretty decent way to go.
Turns into bubbles. With how quick it happens and how painless it seems, it's probably the happiest end that someone as evil as her could have hoped for.
Was the fairy godmother really evil? Yes, she was. But the eagle-eyed among you may notice that we're already about halfway into this video because I wanted to keep it to the deaths that are on screen. But there is an off-screen section that I would highly recommend you go check out if you go ahead and watch the video. The link in the description, the full video down there. Make sure you show support to the people that create these videos that we're allowed to react to, which is cool.
Moving on, next is Tai Lung from the Kung Fu Panda series. Like Fairy Godmother, his end probably could have been a lot more painful had he not been fighting someone as unconventional as Po. He does get plenty of bruises and injuries, but what does Tai Lung in is the extremely powerful Wuxi Finger Hold move.
The Wuxi Finger Hold move. I actually haven't seen Kung Fu Panda. I saw like the first half of Kung Fu Panda where the duck's making all the ramen. I didn't see the end of it though.
Putting this death above Fairy Godmother's, not because it seems more painful, but because of the fear Tai Lung shows before it happens.
Does he straight up
Though
actually die?
quick and painless, it's still technically a means of death, even if he's essentially just sent to the spirit realm and unable to return. The only
he's straight up dead.
thing that could add to the gruesomeness of this was if someone like Kai did something to his spirit, perhaps even stealing his life force. But since we don't see this, we can only speculate. In any case, since the actual death didn't seem to be too painful or prolonged, we feel that we have to rank it low. Now, I hope you're not afraid of heights, because next are the deaths that were a result of falls from great heights.
I am terrified of heights. I'm not a fan. Let me know in the comment section, are you scared of heights? Because I'm not a huge fan of it.
Classic when it comes to animated deaths. First up is Humpty Dumpty from Puss in Boots.
Oh no! Humpty had a great fall!
Of all the deaths on this list, Humpty Dumpty's is probably the most bittersweet, since his death also acts as a redemption as well as a heroic sacrifice.
Oh no!
He chose to die as a way to not only save his former best friend, as well as the town, but as a way to try and make up for everything he had done. Though he does have a great fall, just like the old rhyme said, seeing him leave behind a golden egg makes this death just a bit less sad. Even so, he was still—
How does he leave behind a I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen Puss in Boots, so I don't know what the story of this is.
Broke on impact. Maybe just a little gruesome to think about.
When he smashes open, you just see his innards. I guess it's a good thing that you don't see, like, the actual yolk. Is the yolk Humpty Dumpty's brain?
And painful and gruesome villain deaths. Next is General Mandible from Ants. For a little ant—
Oh, dude, Ants is like a Bug's Life for woke, edgy teens.
Ants, life is pretty tough. There are many things that can kill a bug, from being stepped on to drowning to even being attacked by bigger bugs.
No, I swear, Ants is the ugly version of a Bug's Life. Just looking at it now, I'm just like, oh god, this is
General Mandible, his end was not only due to gravity, but his own anger and ego. If not for him attacking and trying to kill Cutter and Z, there's a good chance he would have lived. But while Z was lucky enough to survive but fall into water, Mandible instead ended up hitting a thick root. As if the fall wasn't bad enough, hitting something that hard and painful would surely make any viewer wince. And even knowing that it—
Yeah, but if you drop an actual ant from a great height, it's not good. Do ants take fall damage in real life?
Was most likely an instant death doesn't quite take away from the brutality factor. Finishing up our falling section is Grimmel the Grizzly, from the third Dragons movie. Being a dragon hunter and rider, it's almost poetic that Grimmel was killed by falling out of the sky.
My
But
days.
with Mandible, the experience must have been pretty terrifying for Grimmel, knowing that there was no way but down. Maybe that was why he was so desperate to take Hiccup with him, spending most of the fall focusing on ripping off Hiccup's armor and fighting with him. Unfortunately, when he—
Yeah, well, he's dead at that point, and he's like, oh well, if I'm gonna die, I might as well kill the protagonist too. But unfortunately, the protagonist has plot armor due to being the protagonist.
tries to hold on to Hiccup in the hopes that the Light Fury will have to rescue him as well. He ends up
Or
grabbing
that.
prosthetic leg. once Hiccup removes his fake leg, it's pretty much game over for Grimmel. It should also be noted that although he falls into the ocean instead of Earth, at that height, it really doesn't matter either way. It would
Ocean surface is like concrete. If you hit it hard enough, it's bam! You ever belly flopped into a swimming pool before? That hurts. Now imagine doing that from like a mile in the air. It kills you.
still been deadly, and if by some miracle he did survive the fall, his body would still be too broken to attempt swimming, and he still would have died by a mix of intense pain and drowning.
Oh my god, that's really detailed.
With all that in mind, Grimmel's death is definitely the most brutal falling death on our list. But with that wrapped up,
Straight
this
up.
next short section is another animated death classic. These are the Crush deaths. Getting a much more painful death than his mother is Prince Charming. In
Yeah, crush deaths are much worse than falling deaths. I just imagine the Soul Trap or that one Star Wars sequence where they crush you, but they